International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Thrown away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from...
Well, it's the first show of April, but that doesn't mean the madness has not continued. I mean, anything happen over the weekend? Anything to talk about? You guys got anything going on? I mean, what's happening? It was 40 years ago tomorrow, April 4th, 1983. One of the most memorable basketball games in the history of the NCAA tournament, and it was Houston, the Houston Cougars, who went into the pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico as huge favorites over North Carolina State. NC State pulled, 40 years later, still considered one of the greatest upsets in the history of the sport and in any sport. And here we are, one day shy of 40 years later in Houston, and with an opportunity to have something out of nowhere again. Good morning to you. Happy April. Happy Monday. And welcome to the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, A. Marie. How you living?
What it do?
How's the weekend?
Well, considering we saw one of the best games in Final Four history, it was fantastic.
We were together during that moment at Sandia Casino, and we were so happy for you, Jeff. And the best part was The crowd at Sandia went crazy.
I imagine it did.
I mean, like, I've never seen anything like that. I'm telling you, it was crazy.
I've seen videos of well, I mean, I watched a bunch of San Diego stuff, but I've seen videos from everywhere, including Boca Raton. I think anywhere but Boca Raton, right? I don't know. I've been addicted to just watching reaction videos over the last couple of days. Have you seen the video of so they had the NCAA had people just cameras everywhere, right? Because the stadium is massive, and I'll get you into so much of the experience because being here has been unbelievable. And they do these in these football stadiums. But so they had a camera on the show, the student section for San Diego State. And have you seen the one that was on the FAU student section?
I can only imagine.
It's like it gut-wrenching. And these kids, like, you know, when Aguacaro blocks the shot, and they, oh no, and they're like holding each other's hands. No, okay, oh no. And then like they just go silent and their jaws drop and it's just one of the most gut-wrenching thing. I mean, you feel for them. John L. Davis goes to the rim with about 5 on the shot clock and Aguacaro blocks a shot. They get the rebound and Lamont Butler did what he did in the pit to the Lobos. Same dude. I don't know if that hit you right away. It was the same dude that beat the Lobos in the pit that hit the shot. JJ, I've been to a lot of sporting events. I've lived a very blessed life. I know how lucky I am. That was a number one on my list of sports moments, being there and the way it was. I think, and we're going to get into what it means and stories and the people that were there. But I was in the concourse down on the 100 level in between games, and it flowed into the Miami game. And it was generations of people wearing different logos of San Diego State stuff, right? People who graduated in the 60s and 70s, all the way up to people who were still in school, hugging each other, high-fiving. And I've had so many conversations about it. Like, winning's great, and it does so many things. But that first time, like when I can't wait for the Lobos to get over the hump, right? And to have that feel, because this fan base, and the Aggies too, but they deserve this. And then because it happened the way it happened, I think if San Diego State would have won by 15 points, it would have been jubilation. It would have been unbelievable. But the way they won, for 27 minutes they hadn't led. They didn't lead in the whole second half until there were zeros on the clock. And to have Lamont Butler hit that shot and come from behind, and it be the only time, the first time in the history of the NCAA tournament, where a buzzer beater lifted a team from behind. Like Keith Smart's buzzer beater. There's been buzzer beaters in the tournament, but never, it's always been with a team tied, never from a team behind. I had no idea. It was one of the most magical moments. People just going around. I didn't know what to do. Like, I literally, it was one of the most bizarre things ever.
It was an unbelievable game because you look at what FAU was doing. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
They are going to be thinking about that missed opportunity forever. Up 14 in the second half, putting on an offensive performance that you don't see against San Diego State. They were aggressive, they were strong, they were efficient inside, but when it mattered the most, they were small. They could not grab a rebound to save their life. San Diego State got whatever they wanted to late in that game in clutch time. Just the amount of offensive rebounds. I think there was a stretch there, it felt like, where they had like 5 or 6 offensive rebounds in 60 seconds, and you just like grab the rebound, FAU. And
or don't.
Well, it depends on who you're rooting for. What I thought was interesting too is because it was essentially 2 mid-majors in it. Usually you'd be in an arena like that, and the crowd would start going to the underdog, and who would be that in this one?
I don't know.
It just felt like everyone was just invested in a great game.
Yeah, both the fan bases traveled. No, that's a really good point. I don't know that I felt the arena shift. The neutral fans. I think maybe a little FAU because there were so many Miami fans and they're 30 miles apart, and I think there was something that they were kind of pulling for that whole South Florida final. And so, like when I got here the other day, the rental car bus. It was like, wow. And I guess a plane from Miami just flew in, but it was all Miami and FAU. The offensive rebounds were something because they were coming off of missed free throws, JJ. And the free throws, there were so many moments in that thing where you're like, what's going on? The Aztecs were 13 of 22 at the line. And in the second half, it was even worse. And it was, you're looking at it going, okay, they're doing everything they can to not win this freaking basketball game. I want you to watch, if you go back and watch any of the video, and they'll do it again tonight. San Diego State got offensive rebounds off of free throws. They cross their rebounders. So when they're shooting free throws, right, whoever the opponent is, right, the team that's shooting free throws does not have the inside position, right? You understand that. And so they've got the second position on the block. Well, they don't just try to fight around it. What they're doing is crossing their guys over. Watch them go through the lane, and it's harder for the opposition to find the body to box out. Does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say? So they're crossing. Instead of just fighting the guy that they're leaning on, they're getting off that guy and going across. And so the guy that they're leaning on doesn't have a feel. Where'd that guy go? And it's startling how many times that worked, and because they missed so many damn free throws. Take a look at that because it's fascinating. I'll tell you this, and Jeff Grammer's going to join us. I saw Jeff yesterday here, spent some time with him out at the arena yesterday during the media, and I got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about. He's going to join us at 8 o'clock. I want to get his experience, but he and I were talking about it. What did you think of the way San Diego State played the final 38 seconds? So they're down by 1. FAU got the ball. They called timeout, which was fine. But Brian Dutcher decided to play it out and not foul. And I'm going to tell you, and it worked, and he's going to the championship game, and this is why he's a coach. And I just talk about this mess. But in the moment, I'm like, why wouldn't you extend the game? Like if FAU would have run the clock down, shot with 1, you figure they take a long shot. It takes 2 seconds to get there, a long rebound. In best case scenario, you're getting the ball with 3 seconds. I didn't think San Diego State had a chance to win the game playing it out. Brian Dutcher said that he and Coach Velasquez, they evidently they did talk it through, and it worked because John L. Davis shot with 5 seconds to go, and obviously there was just enough time for Lamont Butler to go down, misstepping on the line by about an eighth of an inch. But what did you think in that moment? Because I thought they had screwed that up.
I had the same thought process as you. I figured if FAU plays it out the way they should, you're not going to have enough time to do anything, because even with the timeout, you can't advance the ball. So you'd be in a tough position. But it's because still, if you're FAU, that's a really challenging thing to do, is be able to wait that long. Even if you end up taking not necessarily a great shot, but you run the clock all the way down, get it to hit the rim. Like, there's so many factors involved from FAU standpoint, too, on that final possession. So you attack the rim, try to get the shot to make it a 3-point game. It gets blocked, and then you go in transition, and I'm okay with that. Like, when you're at that point in time, everyone's screaming, call a timeout. But
No,
a lot of times it happens in games. But
right. No, I was with the way they played that out.
Because if you call a timeout, that helps the defense, because then you can set up your defense, you can slow it down. So I once they had the time, that was absolutely the right decision. Get it and go down the court, and you got a guy that's confident in his shot-making ability that didn't panic. When he was cut off on the line, the biggest thing Lamont Butler did is keep his dribble. He didn't panic. He didn't pick up the basketball, because we've seen that is worst-case scenario, is when you cut yourself off, pick up the ball, you get crowded to try to pass it, game over. He kept his dribble, took the shot. Onions.
Yeah. Onions is right. I'm with you on the not calling timeout on the possession. Just play downhill. Everybody said, well, they didn't have their offensive guys, and Bradley was out, and fine. But you talk about confidence. When we return, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let me give you phone numbers to get in. 505-246-0610. Want to hear from you today. That is the 377 Brewery hotline. It is also the text line. Send an email to Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. You can tweet at JJ and A. Marie. It's _ JJ Buck and at Part Time Bro. Of course, we're up on video. You can watch the show on Comcast Channel 26 on our Facebook page, the OD in the AM. Adrian's producing there. JJ, you just talked about confidence. When we come back, I asked Lamont Butler yesterday, where did that come from? And a little of it came from Albuquerque, New Mexico. What does that even mean? I'll tell you that when we come back on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my...
That was great Ted Leitner on San Diego State Radio, JJ. What do you say? It's good, it's good. How did it go?
It's good, it's good, it's good. It's good.
Our buddy Ted Leitner. So I saw Ted last night. I sent he was on our show. What about it was right before the Sweet 16 round? Right, is when Ted came on. And for those of you who are not familiar, Ted Leitner has been doing Aztec games since 1978. Padres since '79. He is a beloved figure in San Diego. And I sent him a text last week, just say, I'm happy for him, JJ, right? It was like, remember when Lobos were 14-0 and Rob and Hunter came on, you're happy for the announcers, right? They're along for the ride too. And Ted has been along this ride. He's seen some bad basketball over the years. He's seen some really good basketball and football too over the last decade or two. So I sent him a note, just, I'm happy for you. And I know you're going to tell me it's about the players. So true story, actually, last night, I was at dinner at a deli in Houston with my cousin, and we're at a deli, and I look up, and there's Ted Leitner walking, and she's like, "What do you mean? Who's that?" And I kind of tell her, and so he's by himself, and he comes over, sits over, literally he's walking right by us, and he's holding the UConn notes. You've been there before, right? You're in a town, you're studying the notes, and I just looked up and I said, "Hey," and he says, "What are you doing here?" And we looked at each other and smiled and just hugged. The ride he's on is so special. It would have been like if Mike Roberts got to get to the Final Four, or and that's why I so want for this fan base. But he says, "No, but you're sitting here trying to read about these UConn guys, and makes sense that they could pay for my dinner now." And so he was, we're talking about the ride and what it meant and all the texts that he's got. It's something, JJ. I so want this fan base to feel this, because I think it's different when it happens to UCLA, when it happens to Carolina, when it happens to Duke, right? They get it. Not that they don't appreciate it, but JJ, I've never seen anything like this before. This is a fan base of people, and again, I don't expect anybody to like them, and I'm just trying to really relate the emotion that never thought this would happen. And then the way it happened, I don't even think the way it happened, and we're going to get into Malcolm Butler and the confidence, or Lamont Butler, but don't you think the way it happened made it even more?
Yeah, it's iconic. It's it's going to be one of the things that you see every single year now, in the montage to build up to the NCAA tournament, is a buzzer beater to win the Final Four. We see that Villanova shot from a few years ago all the time in the national championship game, and this one's going to be right up there with it. Weekend shots that you see, the memories that you think about. And this is what, still with the changes and the challenges with college athletics, it still resonates so differently. Like, people have a deep affection for their pro team, and most of the time, you grew up in that town and it's part of your identity, but there is something that pulls at your heartstrings as a sports fan differently when it's a college you spent time at, when you can say, "I was an Aztec." You can be a Broncos fan, you can be a Cowboys fan, but you're not a Bronco, you're not a Cowboy. But you haven't spent that time there. Heck, you might even have shared a classroom with someone on the team at some point in time. And it just is different. And I think that's why you see this resonate so much more differently than other things, is because the experience that you have at a college, if it's your alma mater and you spent time there, like, that's truly when you can say, "We did this."
So your buddy Josh Sushan's like that right now. He's over the moon, crazy. He drove from Round Rock to Houston, and he's coming back. He went back there yesterday morning. I talked to him. He's coming back here for the game tonight. It's funny you say that. So I met a number of former Aztec football players. I had pretty good seats. Was taken care of on Saturday night. I was in a really good place, and in the building. And a number of former Aztec football players were. I met actually D'Amico Ryan, the new Texans coach, was there. JJ met him. He's an Alabama guy. I was like, "Yeah, sorry about that, but not really." But so Ephraim Salaam, do you remember Ephraim Salaam? He played. Yes. He played in the Super Bowl, and he said, afterwards, this was the biggest moment of his sports life. And he's like, "And I played in the Super Bowl." I'm like, "Whoa!" It's exactly what you just said. He said, "Really?" So he was sitting right in front, like we were talking all night, And when that shot happens and the place goes nuts, like he's jumping around, and I met him, I don't know, 2 hours ago, jumped into his arms, and like he Yogi Berra'd me around this suite for a few minutes. We kind of looked at each other after that. But yeah, that's what it meant. It was bonkers. All the different people that have been here and seen. So you were talking about the confidence that Lamont Butler had in his shot, right? You said that was the right guy, and you talked about how he kept his dribble and it was confidence and it was composure, and why Brian Dutcher didn't call timeout and get Matt Bradley on the floor, and it was obviously the right thing to do. Yesterday in the media sessions, I asked Lamont Butler, I said, so the shot you hit in Albuquerque against the Lobos, did that play any part in this? I know you're not thinking about it in the moment, but did that play any part? He says, absolutely. And I'm paraphrasing it, but he said, absolutely. Knowing that I can do it in those situations, that was such a big shot for us. It was such a big shot for our season. In that moment, we were losing the game too. And he really made comparisons. And obviously, this is a different stage, a bigger stage. But JJ, it wasn't that much different, right? I mean, they're down by 1. They had 6 seconds then. They had 7.5 seconds in this one. That one he just pulled up and hit an open J. This one he had to create. But you went into the break last segment talking about the confidence that guy had. I asked him that question yesterday, and the shot in the pit, he flat out said, yeah, that played a part in the confidence. Now, you're not thinking about it in that moment, but that was a moment. And I'm going to guess in Dutcher's mind as well, the head coach, when he saw the ball in that guy's hand,
he's fine.
He probably played a part in right. If it was in maybe if Aguacarope had it or even Jaden Ledee or somebody that hadn't done it, maybe then he calls a timeout and draws up a play and gets Matt Bradley in. But that guy had it, and I got to believe that played a part in it as well.
It had to be. And you listen to Brian Dutcher yesterday, kind of talking about it. He said, "Yeah, did I have my quote unquote offensive lineup on the floor? No, but he had the guy who he trusts with the ball in his hands. And that was the biggest thing is for Butler, just to me, the way he kept the play alive. He didn't panic. He got down to the baseline. He got in the corner. He kept his dribble alive, because that is an easy situation to get down there, see, cut off, pick up a dribble. And at that point in time, you're done. Once you pick up your dribble, you can't create separation. If you pass it, you've already wasted too much time. And if you take a timeout, you're going to be in a situation where there's like 1 point something seconds left. And that was the biggest thing to me is even if he got cut off, down in a corner, kept his dribble, able to get enough space, get a good look at the rim, rise, fire. And that's what you want in that situation is trust your players. And Brian Dutcher has done a fantastic job of that all season long. Everyone was trying to get him to talk about what this means for him. What does he think about this or that? And he has just been all about his players in the moment because, as he said, March is about the players, and that was one of those moments.
He's pretty amazing with that, and I think he's handled this so well, right? He's a 20-something, 30 almost year assistant coach who is now thrust into the limelight. And JJ, I will tell you, I mean, the lights are so bright. This is I know I'm in the bubble, and so I'm going to yield to you a little bit. Super Bowl Final Four. Is there a bigger stage after that? I mean, am I putting the Final Four to? I think the Super Bowl is the biggest stage sporting in our country annually, but I firmly feel that this weekend and it's bigger. This is my perspective now. Bigger than the NBA Finals because that draws out site to site over 4 to 7 games, where this is one site, 2 days. 4 teams out of 360, and the media, the attention, we've already discussed how I feel this is the biggest sporting event, the best sporting event in our country. But am I wrong? Is there it's Super Bowl, and I believe this is number 2. Am I giving it too much because I'm here?
I think if you're just looking at understanding the Super Bowl where the NFL is, the Final Four, the magnitude of it. Yes, it would be number 2 just because of the one and done nature of it.
Yeah.
And it's not an extended series. It's you're here and then you could be gone. And the Final Four back-to-back games that Saturday is just fantastic. You get just the quick breather into a Monday night championship game. And I thought the entire weekend, by the way, I love the shift too that we're seeing
with the
women's game playing
Yeah.
Friday, Sunday. So now you get this 4-day stretch of just unbelievable basketball. It is great for college basketball.
Yeah, we're going to get into the women as well. Yeah, and just to close that thought, I just think the way that Brian has handled this, right, being a background guy for 25, 30 years behind Steve Fisher, and then the way he stepped into this, and I don't know, man, at some point, and I think the point's now, I think Brian Dutcher's recognized a pretty damn good coach too, huh? In his own right. And what he's done with this program to take it to the next level. All right, when we come back, one of the final two coaches was asked yesterday about tournament expansion. And it's a big topic. You know how I feel. What he said and why, and it hopefully, well, we'll see how much his voice is heard, but it's been a topic around here. And I don't know, maybe you feel it should be expanded, maybe you don't. I know some coaches do. I'll tell you what he said and why when we come back. I call IPS whenever I leave town, and well, they're when I'm in town too. I see them every day. International Protective Service watches my home. So who are they? What are they? It's private security, affordable private security. I know you see their vehicles, their officers all around town, in front of stores, in front of homes and businesses. They protect what's important to you, what you've worked so hard to build, because you've worked hard to build your business and your home and obviously protect your family. Property crimes on the rise. Officer shortage continues to be an issue. Call IPS and have them protect you. Take care of what's important. It's highly trained armed guards and 24-hour patrols. And they come by and, like, when you're gone, pick up mail, newspaper, roll garbage cans to the curb and back, do exterior checks. Call them, protect yourself, your family, and your business. Committed to our city and to your protection. IPS's number is at 505-897-2420, 505-897-2420, or online at ipsglobal.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
and act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us.
The sports animal. Oh, by the way, if you're out and about tonight, not in front of your TV to watch UConn and San Diego State, you're home for the NCAA tournament, and of course the final game is right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports animal. So no Isotopes tonight, right? They're off on Mondays, home openers tomorrow, so it worked out perfectly, right? Josh can fly home tomorrow. He can yell and scream and be Aztec Joshy.
Yes, he can.
It's something else. Lots of other stuff going on if you want to get in on that. Frisco beat the Gladiators over the weekend out at Rio Rancho in the home opener for Duke City Gladiators, 60-55. So the Gladiators are 1-1. Oakland Roots beat New Mexico United over the weekend, 1-0 in California. A lot of penalties, huh? Tough game for New Mexico United. They are now 1-1. And we can talk about the golf. It's Masters Week now. I mean, what is scheduled? Our buddy Nick Nee is going to join us. JJ, I think we're going to get back into that cycle. But I've been texting with him, and he's like, "Well, yeah, we can start it next week because I'm going to be at the Masters on Friday." And I'm like, "Really? I mean, we're living tough lives between the two of us."
Yeah, Jeff, maybe just go to Augusta after Houston. Just head over there.
Don't think I haven't thought about it. I mean, it's right. I'm halfway there. So he'll probably join us Thursday. We'll talk Masters. But if you want to get into any of that stuff, we can. Baseball, Isotopes are. So, A-Marie, I just got something actually for you. It's one of those. Let's ask A-Marie. One of those.
Oh, exciting.
I know you love
about
this
women's college hoops? Because
no, it's actually not. It's a men's sport.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is a totally.
No, I'm just excited about women's college hoops. I've never heard so many people talking about it over the weekend. So
let's get there here in a second. But this says Albuquerque's baseball team did something this weekend they haven't done since May 21st of 2019. Do you know what it is?
I was gonna say they won on Saturday, but I don't.
They're above 500.
Okay, see, I was right on.
You're right on. You're right on. All right, I want to get in the women's game in a second, but let me I tease this going in. So, JJ, where are you? I know we've had this conversation, and I think I know where you are on expanding the tournament. The argument is, well, bowl games are 70 or 60-something% of the schools get in, and there's 360 teams and only 68 get in. It's 16.8%, whatever it is. Where are you on expanding the field of the NCAA tournament?
I am good with 68.
Because it works, because it's unbelievable, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I am too. This is one of the ultimate to me. This isn't broke. Please don't fix it, right? This is, it's so good. There's a swell, and I know Jim Larinaga from Miami has been behind this. And look, JJ, coaches get bonused on getting to the NCAA tournament, so I understand why coaches want it. There's an extended opportunity for the student athletes, and the argument would be, Jeff, you argue, more, why take away the bowl experience from football players? Well, why take the bowl or the NCAA tournament experience from players? And I get that. I would argue that bowl experience and the tournament are completely different. Most bowls, you're not playing for a national championship, right? It's a one-off exhibition essentially, a bowl game that means something. And this is a tournament that you're playing, and as FAU and San Diego State would tell you, for a championship. So Danny Hurley, the coach of UConn, who, by the way, JJ, is so good. So good with the media and the podium. And I mean, I sat in his press conference yesterday. He's so good. But he was asked by one of the national writers about tournament expansion. And he said, I would be against it. He said, I think it's great that it would devalue the regular season. And he said, it's a privilege to play in this tournament, not a right. And I don't think expanding the tournament is a good idea. I hope he is heard, because I know the momentum is going the other way on this. I think the tournament is so good. And I would argue with you that the postseason literally begins with the conference tournaments. I mean, the conference tournaments are essentially an expansion, especially for the one-bid leagues, but they're an expansion of the NCAA tournament, right? I mean, you're playing win or go home, win in advance games, and before. And I hope he's right. I hope it works that way, because I just think this thing is not broken.
With what they've done, even the 4 teams, I think the first 4 is something that works. It was a little tweak that it wasn't crazy. It wasn't adding double-digit teams, so you get a couple 11 seeds, you get a couple 16 seeds playing in. I like the focus on those games for teams that wouldn't usually get a lot of focus, the 16 seeds that, this year is a little bit different for those, because I think what you'd have to do is, in your mind, like, what are we talking about? We're talking about 10, are we talking about 15, or are we essentially...
Well, they're talking about going up to like 96,
yeah, so
right?
it would be look at the NIT field,
Yeah,
and then fold
and
that
absorb
into
it.
the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
and
and I
that's
just
what they would be doing right now.
Yeah. I started thinking in my own mind, okay, how would I feel if they just, expanded it by 4 more, right? And played some more of those first 4 type of games. I don't know when they would do it. I guess you could play them all day in Dayton. But so kind of have, instead of the last 4 at-larges playing into those 11 seeds, have the last 8 at-larges playing all into the 11. So all the 11 seeds, right, playing into 4 spots. I imagine you could do that. I don't want to. I don't know. It's not for me. I know how good this is, and I'm sitting here in the middle of it watching it, and I listen to a guy like Danny Hurley, who, I mean, that's a royalty family, right? That family's so good. I think he's on the right path with this, and we'll see where it goes, because I think the majority of fans, JJ, I mean, I don't know, with the Lobos, how does Lobo fan feel? So if the field was expanded, the Lobos would have been in the NCAA tournament this year, right?
That is correct.
I mean, so is Lobo fan, do you think, supportive of that?
You are adding probably another weekend, of course.
That's right. That's what I'm saying, man.
And at this point in time, the whole, what are they going to do about school and being on campus thing, that ship is sailed. We don't have to worry about that anymore. But I just think it's like, even if something is a smaller percentage, I think that's what makes it special.
I agree.
About the NCAA tournament. And I think that we've done something. It's not necessarily just because we've done it for so long, this is the way it has to be. That's what makes the NCAA tournament special. If you wanted to change things for the other conferences, you can absolutely change things with how you award your postseason bid. But to your point, those conference tournaments, that's the beginning of the madness. That's the last opportunity. That's the door open for everyone. Now, where you talk about the expansion, okay, could it get a couple more quote-unquote mid-majors in? Sure. We just look at what we just saw in the NIT with those teams winning. But I don't think that's would be my rallying cry just to expand the tournament, just so those teams
mid-majors could get it. I agree.
Mid-majors could get it. I think it's just continuing to focus on the selection process, the fairness of it. And if you have the right resume to get in, you get in.
So, what you look at the Final Four in the NCAA and the Final Four in the NIT. 3 of the Final Four in the NIT were mid-majors. 2 from the WAC, 1 from the WAC, 2 from Conference USA, and then in the NCAA, 1 Mountain West and 1 Conference USA. I think there's an appetite now. Wow, okay, there's good basketball being played, and there might be maybe more room. All right, Jeff Grammer is going to join us at 8:00 from the Final Four in Houston. Saw him yesterday, and we had some really good talk. but I want to get his perspective. And how close are the Lobos? I mean, I wanted to, he and I talked about it, but I will ask him that question. How close are they? I mean, you're telling me, and you're right. Lobos almost swept San Diego State. The only team that beat San Diego State in San Diego this year, and here's a team now that they almost swept playing for the national championships. We'll talk to him about that and what it would mean. When we return, we're going to get into the women's last night, and was what Angel Reese did to Caitlin Clark called for? Was it classless? Was it out of control? I see you shaking your head. I'll let y'all know which way she's shaking her head, because that is the talk of the sports world this morning, and it was some sort of a show. We'll do that when we come back. You know, it used to be, and it wasn't that long ago, if your hair was thinning, you just had to deal with it. Losing one's hair was natural. There was nothing you could do about it. That's certainly not the case anymore. Talking to both men and women who may be dealing with hair loss or thinning hair. There absolutely is something you can do to get your hair back, and it starts with one easy call to NewMail. The number's 505-652-1688. 505-652-1688, or you can go online at NewMail, NUMALE.com. The cutting-edge technology has helped thousands of men and women reclaim their hair. The pros at NewMail walk you through the options, and you'll choose what's best for you. Platelet-rich plasma hair therapy uses your own platelets to stimulate stem cells deep in your hair follicle to stop hair loss. You regrow hair. FDA-cleared clinical hair restoration laser proven to regrow hair. NeoGraft hair transplants produce natural-looking results in less than a week, and there's no linear scarring. Get your hair back. Make the call. NewMail's number is 505-652-1688. 505-652-1688, or online at newmail.com.
This report is sponsored by
too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and LaCueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Oh, was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Has to back it out.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1, gets up, gets it in.
He doesn't use it, comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh,
Wow.
he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a 3, and that's what he does. A 3 for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a 3, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those.
San Diego State UConn tonight for the men's national championship in college basketball. Last night it was LSU 102, Iowa 85 for the women's championship. Terrific season for Caitlin Clark, the player of the year from Iowa. Angel Reese, the star, the Bayou Barbie from LSU, getting all the pub this morning. Angel Reese, and I got to know more about this. Was it provoked? Was it not provoked? Caitlin Clark talks a lot of junk now.
I will tell you what it is, Jeff.
Well, tell people what happened first, because she did the whole "you can't see me" with a hand face, and then pointed at her ring finger right at Caitlin Clark. But please tell me what it is.
Okay, so this is what happened. Caitlin Clark, everyone knows her name now. She's a star in Iowa, star in women's college hoops. After she dropped 40, she did the hand in your face, bad for radio to show you guys, but it's a John Cena, like, you know, you can't see me. So yesterday, LSU gave it to Iowa, and Angela Reese has been getting guff all season. People say, you know, she's too hood, she's too ghetto, she doesn't have it, like, whatever. And so she did it, clapped back with what Caitlin Clark did, because they beat Iowa pretty well, and they got a ring. So they pointed to her ring towards her finger. It was just good old smack talk, in my opinion. Yep. It wasn't classless. I think it's good for the sport. And everyone cares. You want to know why? Because everyone was watching it. I've never heard so many people talk about college women's hoops from all my friends, from circles, from social media. When we were at the bar at San Diego Casino, all the dudes were talking about the bar. They're talking about, like, Caitlin Clark, and I just think it's great.
So, unfortunately, they're talking about that, and they don't know one play that happened in the college basketball game.
Come on.
Right? And that's where this is going. I think I'm tending to agree with you. It's smack talk and players run it. JJ, you play at the Y, you run junk. They play at whatever level. Larry Bird and Michael Jordan talked. I'm interested to see where people are going with it. Was it classless? Was it taunting? Was it necessary? Was it too much? And how's it been played up? I'm interested to hear people's thoughts. All right, let's go. 505-246-0610. Let's load them up. Mike, thanks for holding. You're on The Sports Animal. Good day, Mike.
Hey, good morning, this beautiful city. So first, can I back up on that when you asked a question about is going to 90 too many teams? I would say absolutely, because I think you start watering it down. I mean, if the Lobos would have made it, look at how I think they would have played better, but did they deserve to be there? You know, they didn't do what they needed to do at the end, you know, and that's when. I would say that, you know, you start adding teams. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, but do you deserve to be there to have that opportunity? I'd say no. You have to do what you got to do to get there to deserve that opportunity. And it's unfair that if someone just happens to get hot one game out of the year, that they take down someone that earned it. So saying that, are they the best team? They are for one game, and that's probably it. But anyways, moving on to that player. Wow, I watched a little bit of that game last night, and I thought, what a game. What talent was on that floor. Now, it was a bit of a blowout, but it was entertaining for the most of it. And, I'd say, they're young players. Ask them when they're 25 and older, was that classless, I've been around a lot of sports, and you see really good teams act that way, and you see other good teams show class. So I think it's a coin flip.
All right, Mike. Thank you. Appreciate the call. So you're shaking your head. So the word classless bothers you, obviously, on that.
Yeah, because I don't think it's classless. Like, why can't she talk smack back? Everyone's been underestimating her the whole season. Like, it's a great story.
Yeah, I need to know the backstory more, because if you just take it a snapshot in a bubble,
what do you think?
It does.
Well, this is one where Angela Reese said it after the game. She feels that Caitlin Clark has been celebrated for her emotions, and there's videos of the best clapbacks of Caitlin Clark this season, like on social media,
They're
online.
great.
But if Reese does it, or if you're looking at South Carolina, they're too physical.
Let's call it what it is, man. They say when the white girl does it, it's okay. When a black girl does it,
and that's where
it's
there was a
classless.
lot of frustration from Reese in that regard post game about how they've been handled.
Yeah.
How Clayton Clark absolutely deserves the attention she's getting, because she's a fantastic ball player. But some of them felt like she could do no wrong in that case. And celebrations, everyone is going to view celebrations differently, and people are going to view celebrations excessively. Whether it's the dude dancing too much, whether it's the guy, that's doing the incomplete, the defensive back who did nothing, or a bat flip. But it's still, how are the players handling it in the moment? And I think Caitlin Clark understands who she is, being a star player, that when another star player comes at you, it's going to happen. And now I think the players are fine with it, and it's just the fans who saw the first women's basketball game of the season were like, oh my goodness, how could someone do that?
Oh my gosh. And don't take away from LSU, because what a great story.
They were
too.
great.
Oh
And what Kim Mulkey's done. Look, in a bubble, it looks like what it looks like. I think you got to know the story. All right, if you want to know the story, you go to Jeff Grammer, don't you? I mean, there he was sitting with all the big dogs yesterday. I was just lucky to be in the room. But there at the Final Four, Albuquerque Journal's global beat writer and college basketball writer Jeff Grammer is going to join us from here in Houston at the Final Four, get his perspective on what's going on here. Aztecs and Huskies tonight on the opening drive at 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
This is the opening drive with three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and J.J. Bach.
So last summer, I was honored to be in a magazine, well, my picture in a magazine right next to the great Jeff Grammer. It was, JJ was the National Sports Media Association program, and I was honored, as was Jeff. We were both honored by the National Sports Media Association, and it was a wonderful honor. But Jeff wasn't able to make that trip. So yesterday, JJ, I had the honor to walk through the tunnel with Jeff Grammer. Brian Dutcher kind of, walked with us. I mean, whatever. And I took a picture on the floor of the national championship game with the great Jeff Grammer. He is here with all the big dogs in Houston for the Final Four. The Albuquerque Journal's Jeff Grammer joins us this morning on the opening drive on City Sports Animal. Good day, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
No, it was good. It was good to see you yesterday and be in that atmosphere and be able to take a picture with you. But just the atmosphere here is great. Help people understand. Here we are 2 days removed from it. The emotion in that building when Lamont Butler hit that shot, because you were right there on the floor, feet away from it. You had a great view.
Yeah. So first of all, I would kind of say this: the Aztec fans certainly outnumbered the Florida Atlantic fans, but in an arena like this, obviously there's just tens of thousands of people who aren't affiliated with any team, or at least the two teams playing. There might have been UConn fans and Miami fans too. And I would say, if you're looking at these two teams, I mean, the national narrative has been, Cinderellas are great, and these two are Cinderellas, which I don't buy. They're not Cinderellas. San Diego State's been doing it a long time. FAU, their wins were well into the 30s, even before Saturday. But I would say that because the 9 was a bigger number, that probably more of the neutral fans were probably rooting for FAU most of the time.
Well, also because the Miami fans flipped over, Jeff.
I was going to say not overly passionate, but I would say they were probably in FAU. It was probably, those people were probably going to FAU. They didn't care in that moment, though. I think even the people that were rooting for FAU that were legitimately unaffiliated with FAU, that whole arena blew up in that moment. And it was, it's easy to say this now, but it's certainly going to be a moment I'll never forget. They stuck me. I'm lucky as heck to have a place, a credential, not only just to cover this event at all and be in the arena, but they have me courtside, right, with those all the cameras they have lined up on the side and all the rotating camera that zooms up and down the side of the court. I'm sitting right there, so I'm between the main Miami radio crew on my left and the student radio crew on my right. There was a spot in between them, and that was my spot. So I'm right there courtside, and Lamont Butler's shot couldn't have been, any more directly in front of me than it was. And I'm 15, 20 feet away from Lamont hitting that shot. And it was an unmatched kind of moment just to watch. But the proximity of where I was, first of all, I'm not asking for anybody to feel sorry for me, but those seats actually aren't very good to sit below the seat, the level of the court and look up at everything. But in that moment, watching that shot 15, 20 feet away from me go in, certainly never going to forget that.
Yeah, we'll work on better seats for you tonight. But see, that's what happens when you're the big dog like Jeff Grammer. Yeah, when you're Jeff Grammer, that you get those seats. I think the Miami fans, just the South Florida thing, the Miami fans filtered over and kind of pulled for FAU. I've heard this a lot, and so from the perspective where you and I live and where we sit and what we cover, Lobo fan has said it, and it's true. They beat San Diego State in San Diego, almost beat them. It was a Lamont Butler buzzer beater that beat New Mexico in the pit. How close are the Lobos? I mean, how realistic? Because I've been telling people this morning, I so want the Lobo and Aggie fan base to feel this, because you've got the emotion. You've seen San Diego State fans, people. I didn't, after I saw you yesterday, I ran into Ted Leitner at dinner last night, and he just saw me and we hugged like we, because of what he's been through. I so want Lobo fan to feel this.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair to say they're super close, but I don't think it's unreasonable to say maybe they are a little close. Let's remember, this is a 9 seed. If you're looking at just the seeding, right? Like, I do think FAU was not seeded properly as a 9, but let's just say UNM was a 9 seed. Had they not lost to Lamont Butler in a buzzer beater in the pit on February 25th, you're talking about a different ending to the season for the Lobos and potentially sneaking in. And if you sneak in as an at-large, you were an 11 seed. So they weren't too far off from that, right? The NCAA tournament, this is what was so weird about the Mountain West losing streak and kind of the struggles they had in March, is it's all about matchups. It's all about kind of randomization of who you're playing against and this and that. It didn't make sense why the Mountain West was struggling so bad. People like to think they have these ideas about, it must be the officiating. Well, it's the same officials that officiate the West Coast Conference games in Gonzaga, 8 straight Sweet 16s, and it's the same officials that do the Pac-12. So it was so weird that the Mountain West struggled so much, but the main thing is, like, you got to get in. And New Mexico isn't far off from getting in this year. I think the way things are looking and the way the rumor mill spinning as fast as it is about transfers, the Lobos should be very much in a position next season, this coming season, to be an NCAA tournament team. I think they were in position to be an NCAA tournament team this year. That's why they were a 2 seed in the NIT. It's because they weren't far off. So along those lines, you catch lightning in a bottle like FAU and San Diego State did and win 4 games to get to the Final Four. Everybody's not that far off, but the difference between San Diego State and New Mexico is the consistency, and that comes with culture and time. And you beat San Diego State in San Diego, and you probably outplayed them a little bit overall, except on the final score, which is really all that matters in the pit. You showed you can hang with them in moments. Well, you got to do it for 4 months. You got to do it for 5 months. Yeah. You got to do it over the course of a season, and that's what New Mexico certainly was not able to do this past season.
Albuquerque Journal's Jeff Grammer's with us from Houston at the Final Four on the Sports Animal.
Jeff, one of the things that you said that I've been echoing this the entire time is just find a way to get in. And I think when people just talk basketball, they in their minds feel that past results affect what happens the next season. Like, the Mountain West lost a bunch of first round games and won't get X amount of teams in their tournament. And as we've seen in the last couple of years, that's not the case. But from a national perspective, and I know you're talking to a lot of the big name writers that people know on a national scale, the perception of the Mountain West this run has been big for the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that very thing is kind of what I had asked some guys Friday when we first started kind of covering the preview stuff for Saturday's games. The story I wrote for Saturday, and I started talking to Gloria, the new Mountain West commissioners here, and I talked to some national writers. Also talking to Pepino. What was the perception, and what does this run do for a team like New Mexico? And this obviously applies to other Mountain West teams, but for our purposes, what does this do for the Lobos? And the reality is, you have to, when you have to start answering questions about, well, why can't the Mountain West ever win in the postseason? It does become a thing. I honestly think it certainly doesn't apply to or affect the computer metrics. Computers don't care about reputations. They just plug in numbers, right? And they just spit out numbers. And the Mountain West was just fine. The Mountain West, in fact, going into the tournament was ahead of both the ACC and Pac-12. I think they've slipped behind the Pac-12 now in terms of KenPom, but that was just because of some in-tournament performances that moved the league back up. But the reality is the Mountain West had a fantastic season in terms of all the metrics, but there is that reputation looming over them and hanging over their head. And it's hard to convince me that maybe it doesn't come into play at least a little bit when you're talking about an NCAA selection committee. But the reality is they have one person. The way the selection committee works is they have one person assigned to a league, and that person watches Mountain West games all season, and then they go and report to the rest of the committee. If you watch the Mountain West all season, that person reporting to the rest of the committee wasn't giving them bad stories about last year's NCAA tournament. They're telling them, wow, this team just beat St. Mary's, and the Mountain West has a team that did this, and the travel's tough, and they're doing this. So it's really I don't think the past perception comes into play specifically, but it's hard not to have that in the back of your mind if you're a committee member. So that's why I think the San Diego State run really is much needed to get the monkey off the back, if you will, for the Mountain West.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal with us. And Jeff, with what you've done too, and you know all these coaches so well in the Mountain West Conference, conversations you have with them and covering them, but you know the Brian Dutcher story, when you look back and his connections with Lou Henson, you know, this week it might have been the first time a lot of people actually read about that story and understood the connections going back. What was it like kind of telling that story and getting to put it out there for everyone? Because, of course, you know, Lou Henson is a major name in New Mexico.
Well, it got me. I didn't know it until Friday. I was at the open practice on Friday, and, you know, thousands of fans get to come watch one open practice on Friday of all the teams. And Jim Nantz is up there on the court talking to Dutcher, interviews him for about 5 minutes each coach. And, you know, the fans are cheering and going crazy. And Dutcher, I saw Reese Davis talking to Dutcher and all the coaches, the two national championship coaches on ESPN last night. And Dutcher did the same thing. Reese Davis told him, look, you keep deflecting. It's admirable, but, like, this is about you a little bit too. And it's I can't convey enough how quickly Brian Dutcher is all the time, but like even in this moment in the Final Four, how quickly he is to deflect to his players and to push the credit onto whoever came before him and remind people that he was a part of the Steve Fisher team and it was a team success and all the coaches were a part of it. And so on Friday, I hear Jim Nantz interviewing him, and he's doing the same thing, talking about all the coaches who have helped him along the way. And he mentions Lou Henson. It was the first time I ever realized that way back when, at the beginning of his coaching journey, he spent 2 years on the Illinois staff, one, you know, that went to an Elite Eight and went to a Sweet 16 under Lou Henson. And so I asked him at the media availability about it. I just said, look, you're always gracious about giving credit to all these coaches, and we know the Steve Fisher story at this point. And you take us back to what Lou Henson meant to you and how you got that job and just sort of what he did to impact this journey. And I thought it'd be a quick, you know, lose a great guy kind of answer. Instead, he talked for a couple minutes about it, and other people got sound bites out of it and used it in some of their stories too. So it wasn't just a New Mexico interest. Like it was Brian Dutcher being Brian Dutcher and making sure that he's giving credit to, you know, every doorman he met along the way 30 years ago kind of stuff. Like he's giving credit to everybody, but the Lou Henson connection was real. It was his first college coaching job outside of being a graduate assistant for his dad at one point. But the first college coaching job he got outside of his dad, it was Lou Henson. He started the college coaching career of Brian Dutcher, and that was pretty cool. And Dutcher's been that way a lot. He always gives credit.
What was amazing about the answer was he said the fact it showed a lot about Lou because he would hire the son of a rival coach to go on his staff, and it said a lot about Lou, and it launched Brian where he is. Jeff Grammer's with us for a few more minutes. Where's Brian Dutcher now? Where should he be in regards to coaches in America? How good of a coach is he? Should he be considered? I mean, I'm not telling you he's a Mike Krzyzewski or a John Wooden, but what he's done, what he's earned, how he's done it, a lifetime assistant who's now taken a program to uncharted levels.
I think you got to look at it in two ways. First of all, the respect for Brian Dutcher should be as high as anybody in the business can have for a guy, because they understand that, not everybody. Look, Richard Pitino, for however it happened, Richard Pitino got his first head coaching job when he was in his 20s, right? He was 28, I believe it was. And other coaches don't ever get an opportunity to be a head coach. And then there's guys like Brian Dutcher who chose to not take some other opportunities. Make no mistake, Brian Dutcher could have been a head coach at a smaller program probably, but he could have been a head coach probably 20 years ago if he wanted to, maybe more. And he chose to stand by Steve Fisher. They had a good thing going. So I think the respect in the industry and the business for Brian Dutcher is as high as it could possibly be, maybe outside of that top tier of the Coach K's. Like, he's held in high regard, but it's also worth noting that the program he built and was a part of building with Steve Fisher was one that took 24 seasons of Mountain West basketball to really get to a point where you don't ever count San Diego State out now. They're going to lose 3 guys, and they believe they're going to have a better team next year. They really believe that because of the transfer portal and some guys coming up. And they're a culture now. You know, coaches talk about culture. That's one of the buzzwords at the introductory press conference. We got to change the culture. Well, culture doesn't happen in a year or two sometimes. It's something you like telling people does, and you can work on it. When you talk about San Diego State and culture, that's more than 2 decades in the making of culture. That's what culture is. Culture is year in and year out. Culture doesn't turn around in a year or two. Fans want it to sometimes, but Brian Dutcher, his success and San Diego State's success, that he was a part of 2.5 decades of building a culture that is absolutely ingrained in that program now. So I think he's very highly respected, but part of it was the long game. He was a part of a long building of a culture that I just don't see happening in this game anymore. Now, I say that he has an assistant on his staff that's been part of the program for 21 years, David Velasquez. So you just don't see that kind of long game for assistants anymore, and it's fun to watch.
Hey, Jeff, I know you got somewhere to go. Do you have another segment in you? And if you don't, that's cool. I know we only talked about it. You do? All right, we got to take a break, but I got so much stuff I want to run by you. So we're going to hold Jeff Grammer on for another set. Are you guys? I didn't even ask you that. Are you guys cool with that? Like, okay, if you want to get rid of him, I mean, we could say, "Hey, Mary, just drop the call." All right, we're good. All right, more with Jeff Grammer. I want to get into what it means for the entire Western United States basketball. I mean, we talk about Mountain West, but what it means big picture, and Jeff's thoughts from the Final Four on just the whole basketball look and the word mid-major or high major, what it all means. We're in Houston. We're in the Burke. It's Final Four, Final 2 day, championship day here on the Sports Animal.
Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blind.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with
9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Opening drive continues from Houston, the site of the final game of the college basketball season tonight. San Diego State and UConn for a national championship. We're also in the Burke in downtown Albuquerque, and looking forward to it tonight. You can hear the game right here on the Sports Animal. We'll continue our conversation. Albuquerque Journal's Jeff Grammer is here in Houston. And Jeff, I look at this in so many perspectives, and being in the building is unbelievable. It feels to me it's not only Mountain West, it's kind of Western United States basketball. When you look at it, Arizona won a bunch of years ago. Gonzaga and UCLA have been there. This is a big deal, not only for the Mountain West, but for it feels like for the entire western part of the country. Do you sense that?
Yeah, I think, look, I'm lucky enough to have met a bunch of these writers, right? These national writers and some of the TV folk as well through the years. And I know them all, but where are they all from? Like, it's not like I know a whole lot of them from out west. I know them from going their coverage of the Big Ten Network or covering Big Ten and Big East basketball. And what they do is they go to media days back east and in the Midwest where there's 150 reporters there. And they're, as much as they follow the sport overall, there is a bias because of familiarity. There's a familiarity bias because of what they're around. There's just not as many people around basketball out west. So it's the reality. We can point to whatever. We can get mad about it or whatever there is, but the reality is you go to a Mountain West tournament, and as good as they run that tournament, and people that maybe don't like hearing praise of the conferences sometimes, the reality is the Mountain West runs a really good tournament. The Pac-12 does a pretty good tournament in Las Vegas, but that's one of the only times some national writers ever really see these teams out west. So the perception naturally starts to fade or shift towards the teams they see all the time, which are Big Ten teams and Big East teams. So yeah, out west, I think there's some kind of, everybody's pulling for San Diego State, even among the coaches and programs, because you have to have some success, right? Gonzaga can't be the only team with consistent success, and while they haven't won the big one, Gonzaga very much had consistent success in this tournament. If you look at the numbers, they've gotten to the Sweet 16 a ton. They've been to the Final Four, stuff like that. So they needed another team. I think the West needed this. UCLA is coming on. Mick Cronin took over the program from Steve. So I do think that UCLA is coming on. But then you're talking, okay, there's two consistent programs. Arizona hasn't been its former self quite to the same levels. Even then, there's 3. So you need San Diego State. You need 5, 6, 7 teams out west kind of making consistent runs to at least the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, maybe the Final Four like San Diego State has done, to sort of remind people that, the country doesn't stop in the Midwest where the Big Ten ends. So I think it's big, man. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I sense the same thing. Other big conversation is recruiting, right? Because the portal's open, everybody's recruiting and reloading for next year. And you and I had some conversations about it yesterday. And when you talk recruiting, NIL is obviously the conversation. And it's interesting how many people talk about the sustainability of collectives and the way NIL is. Miami's done it where they got a $400,000 guy, and San Diego State's done it in a way where every player gets $2,000 a month. And so you've got two completely different ways, and then everything in the middle. Where do you think this thing goes? Is it tend more towards we're going to give guys $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 pay to play, or do you think a model can be? I mean, can San Diego State's model sustain their level of success, paying guys $2,000 a month and thinking they're going to come get paid in sunshine?
Probably not. It would be nice to think it could, but no, that's probably not a model that's going to survive in a world where other models, pay more. I mean, it's the same as coaches. We talk about part of the reason NIL finally came about was the disparity, the difference between the freedom of movement coaches have, and not in the game, but within the sport of, they can leave whenever they want, and the schools end up paying their penalties, right? They pay the buyouts or whatever. And look at these players. They have to sit out a year when they transfer, and they only have 5 years to play 4 anyway, and all these limitations on the players. Well, people understood and became at least understanding. While they didn't like it, they understand why coaches would leave for a lot more money. It's going to be the same for players too. And remember, the demographics are what they are. There is a high percentage of college basketball players that come from backgrounds and come from home lives that could use the money now. They can dream of the NBA all they want, but they could use a little extra spending money to send home to their family right now to help with some rent and to help with some groceries. There's a lot of that. And people sort of don't talk about that enough. There's a high demographic of kids who could use the money now. And so that's where we're at now is you can use the NIL money, not just for the extra spending money in your pocket that gets talked about most, where you can go to the movies and just things that other students do. There's a way to start helping your family as an 18-year-old. That's hard to tell an 18-year-old. Yep. Why don't you go to that school that's giving $2,000 a month instead of that school that would give you $200,000 right now or over the course of the next year maybe? It's hard to convince an 18-year-old who's coming from a family that shared a room with 3 brothers or sisters, and there's some of that going on that I think people forget about. It's fair for a kid to pick the right choice for him financially too, and that's the world we live in. So yeah, I think the cat's out of the bag. I don't think you ever pull NIL back in, but at some point, some consistency would be nice, but that's just not what it's going to be, I don't think.
Jeff, all tournament long, it's been, can San Diego State do this? Can San Diego State do that? Well, we know they can do anything on the basketball floor. This UConn team blowing people away. What do you think about this matchup? Just what the Aztecs are going to see with the Huskies tonight?
So I'm sitting with Ed Graney at the table in the media room the other night.
He's an Aztec.
He is an Aztec. He went to school at the same time as Symbieta, so they had basketball back then, I believe. Might not have been very good out there, but they did have basketball back then. And he's looking at the line. He's checking with some people back in Las Vegas right when UConn won. Immediately after they were the official team that was going to face San Diego State, and he saw a place where the line opened at 6. If you look at KenPom, which uses a lot of the same, basically uses the same formula that Vegas sports books use to set the line primarily, most of the time. And he has it at 5. So, we knew that the line might open small, but we were surprised it opened at 6. I thought it could grow to as high as 9. I don't know what it is right now, but it was up to 7.5 already last night when they were talking to the players. So I know that the matchup doesn't look right for San Diego State. I get it. If you look at the recent history of UConn in this tournament, how they got here and just blowing everybody out, it doesn't look good. The only thing I will say about San Diego State is the same thing we're saying about you got to get into the tournament first just to make a good tournament run. Well, you got to get into the game first. And now all that other past stuff doesn't really matter. They still have to play this game. San Diego State, if you're talking about matchups with UConn, and if you watched the UConn-Miami game, didn't turn it off when it was just not really all that competitive most of the time, you saw a UConn team that was physically kind of just imposing their will against the Miami team that got scared, got intimidated. They were afraid to go inside. They were smaller guards that didn't know what to do. The one thing San Diego State won't do is back down. Now, they may not hit shots for 8 minutes at a time. They may have some problems with some other things, but they're not going to physically be out they're not going to be manhandled physically by UConn, and that's what UConn did Saturday. There were collisions where Miami players ended up 8 feet away on their back, and Sanogo's, he's still sitting there just kind of, what happened? Like, this is a physical team, and they've been bully balling their way a little bit, Hurley style, through this tournament. And the one team, that isn't going to really have that be what affects them is San Diego State. Now, UConn's playing at another level on a bunch of levels too. I think UConn wins, but it ain't going to be because they out physical San Diego State.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I want to give you this as we part now, and I'll see you later today. It was 40 years ago tomorrow. A team from Houston went into the pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as huge favorites over an underdog wearing kind of the same color San Diego State wears. And Jim Valvano and that NC State team won 40 years ago tomorrow. And that was Houston. And here we are in Houston. I don't know if there's any synergy to it, but let me hold on to something, for a few more hours anyway. So we'll see what happens.
We're going to see Brian Dutcher running around the court looking for someone
just
to
looking
hug.
for someone to hug. I mean, just looking for someone to hug. I'll bet he finds someone to hug after if that happens. Hey, my friend, great to see you. I'll see you tonight. Always appreciate the time and the insight. Have fun out here.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Might be well. Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. So I spent a little time with him and Ed Graney and Mark Ziegler. So Ed Graney's the guy he referred to from the Las Vegas paper, and Mark Ziegler from the San Diego Union. They let me hang, kind of peripherally hang out with them a little bit. But the knowledge that those guys have on college basketball is so good. Andy Katz, who was with ESPN, started with the Journal years ago, and a national guy. Spent a little time with him as well yesterday. And the perspective is JJ, it's really good. I was thinking of you, because as much as you love college basketball, like you would just love being here and absorbing this. I just was thinking, dog, JJ should be here right now because I know you love this mess.
Oh, it's on my bucket list of sporting events. I'd love to be able to attend a Final Four weekend just because of everything you get in a few days.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, 505-246-0610. We're going to reset you at the top and get through. I got a bunch of stories still to tell you, including Matt Bradley, who's San Diego State's leading scorer. When he transferred in from Cal, they told him, you got to do this. He said, yeah, not really, I don't. And then the moment he said, oh, damn, I got to do that? Tell you what that is next on the opening drive.
This report brought to you by Sandia Area Federal Credit Union.
Your money is safe with Sandia Area.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream Star Stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all. Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro.
I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
It's 10, the Sports Animal.
And we're going to get back on the clock here in a little bit, so it'll be a short segment, but appreciate Jeff Grammer. JJ, what'd you take? I mean, was there something that jumped out to you from him, just a perspective of him being there? Was there one thing that just kind of jumped out as far as maybe a perspective you didn't think of?
No.
Okay.
Like it's I think a lot of it's what we've touched on and just being in this market and the battle of mid-major basketball. And when you have a really good brand like San Diego State that we all know is really good, there's always going to be something that the national scene doesn't know. It's just the way it is. Like, it's these guys that even are the face of college basketball that people know, the national writers. You know, this was still an eye-opening moment for them watching what not just San Diego State, but even what Florida Atlantic did to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, you know, it's hard. I always think about covering college basketball might be the hardest beat, right? And you would say, why? I mean, the NFL, there's 32 teams, right? Major League Baseball, there's 30 teams. Even college football at the high level, at the FBS level, there's 130 teams, but really you worry about, for the most part, the national writers worry about the Power 5 conferences. There's 360 teams, JJ. And if you ask Jeff Goodman or Jeff Grammer or Andy Katz who the coach at Colgate is, they're going to know, right? I mean, sometimes it just amazes me, the guys who are in that realm, the amount of information. I mean, just think about 360 programs and the amount of movement that's going through that culminates tonight here in Houston. So I'm always somewhat amazed by what they do with that. All right, so Matt Bradley is San Diego State's leading scorer. And JJ, I thought and we talked about this last week, I thought one of the most impressive things about San Diego State getting to the Final Four was they had a different leading scorer in each of their first 4 tournament games, which is really odd. And their leading scorer for the season, Matt Bradley, in the 2 games in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 round combined had 8 points. And I thought, wow, I mean, that's just not sustainable, right? They can't win. Well, Matt Bradley came out and he scored 21 points against FAU the other day in the win, and I think they're going to need him tonight. But he's a transfer from Cal. He came over. He had his last 2 years at San Diego State. And he was asked yesterday about the defense at San Diego State, and he kind of smiled. And I thought it was a really candid moment. He said, you know, I thought I was going to come over here and I was going to score. And they talk about playing defense. He's like, yeah, I played defense in the Pac-12. And he didn't even just say it, Cal. He says, you know, the Pac-12, we play defense. I got my guy. I guard my guy. I always play defense. I guard my guy. He says, here it's different. I got to guard my guy and your dude and their dude. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't have to do that. And they told me flat out, all right, Matt, go sit on the bench. And he said, there was a moment, all right, go sit down. And he said, what do you mean? I mean, I came over here to score and to kind of be the guy. And he said that's what it was the difference for him, right? We hear about this culture all the time at San Diego State, right? And the defense and how you've heard Brian Dutcher say it. You heard Steve Fisher say over years, if you're going to come to San Diego State, you have to play defense. And so I thought listening to him, JJ, yesterday, explain that and him say, they told me to go sit down. I'm like, whoa, okay. And that's kind of what it meant. And the guy who's been their leading scorer for 2 years.
It's big time, and it's still one that when we look at these programs and trying to set a tone and turn the corner and the big stories we've talked about this season in college athletics, even with the transfer portal and NIL, you still have to set a tone. There still has to be a buy-in for your team. And if you don't like it, all right, you can leave, but you can't be scared to figure out what your team needs because of that. And that's one of those moments that says it all.
You know, it kind of parlays into what Jeff Grammer just said. And he was talking about the word culture, right? And after, 23 years, Steve Fisher, Brian Dutcher been there. I think it's 24. You get a culture. That's my biggest concern about building a program, period. Like give me a coach, JJ. After what Fisher and Brian Dutcher did, right? When we say, hey, Marie, didn't we have this conversation the other day? We talked about Tom Izzo, right? But where is someone going to be there long enough to build a culture? And, you know, I'm concerned. I think we all look at what's going on here. And as much as I really like Richard Pitino, I mean, do you think he's going to be here 6, 7, 5, 2 more years, whatever it is, right? And I think you all realize or probably expect at some point he's going to get paid and he's going to go. And so how do you build a culture here or anywhere else? And I just think, JJ, it's such an anomaly these days to have what they've got at San Diego State, that consistency, that continuity. And listen to Jeff Grammer just talk about that. I think it's every program is going to be dealing with turnover and culture issues, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, how do you get there? You know, how do you get there?
It's about the constant buy-in, and it comes from the players that you have, even in short windows, 1 or 2 years, being able to say, hey, if you're coming in, this is what you got to do to succeed. This is what you have to buy in, even if it's a short window. Got to get on board to be able to accomplish something special.
Yeah. All right, when we get back, it's a little lighter moment, but when you sit at these press conferences, people ask questions all over the place. One coach will wear a quarter zip, like a lot of coaches have been doing since COVID, and one will wear a sports coat. Why does that coach decide he's still wearing a sports coat? I'll tell you what his answer was. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I think you will too when we come back. It's springtime. It's tax time. So what are you going to do with that tax refund? How about using part of it to protect one of your largest investments? May I suggest you take part of your refund and call On the Spot Automotive Detailing. Have them meet you at your convenience and detail your vehicle. What does that mean? They come to you. I mean, they come to you. You don't take your car to them. No. You're busy. You're working. They're in the parking lot. They come to your office, your home, and they detail your vehicle inside, outside, around the rims, under the hood, like brand new. Remember when you got your car off the lot, how good that felt? That's what this is. Then ask them about a fresh coat of wax or ceramic coating. It'll protect your car from the intense New Mexico sun. They offer a lifetime warranty, and it starts at just $250. Our military receives a 10% discount at On the Spot Automotive Detailing. Call and schedule at 505-859-2859, 505-859-2859, or go online at otsdetailing.com.
Sponsored by...
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and LaCueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Look at this deep 3. Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1. Gets up. Gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man. Superman.
shoots off. Oh,
Wow.
he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a three, and that's what he does. A three for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a three, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
ML.
So what would you wear if you're a college coach or a basketball coach? It used to be a suit, right? You got to do a suit. JJ, how would you do it if you were a coach? Would you go quarter zip? Would you go casual like they're doing? Golf shirt like Mark Madsen? Would you put on a coat? Mick Cronin, still go with a full suit, buttoned up? What would you do?
I'd probably be a quarter zip coach.
Okay.
I'm superstitious though too, so like if one wasn't working, I'd switch up my outfit.
You would. So not even just your outfit, but your look, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm like, okay, this isn't working. Like, you know.
Yeah, because Brian Dutcher
Kim
was
Mulkey on it.
Oh,
well, you
I
can
love
totally
her.
do that.
Yeah.
but like Brian Dutcher's always the black quarter zip, right? And other coaches, you know, I think Richard's gone red and black and different stuff.
A lot of times they're with the quarter zips. If you notice too, it's staff coordinated.
Totally, yeah. And it's up to the top too. It's like Alford wears it a little zip down with the golf shirt underneath, but most of them guys are like
gotta
you
have
are
a
right now.
little room in the
Yeah,
collar.
you got it. So Danny Hurley, UConn's coach, was asked about that, which this is one of those you're in these press conferences, you asked everything, and he said, he went back to this because he didn't want anything to remind him of COVID. He said the whole COVID thing was so uncomfortable, and it was so, he said, going to play in empty arenas and no fans and no bands and wearing quarter zips. It was so not fun and so unpleasant. And so when it got back to somewhat like it used to be, the familiarity, as I call it, he said, I didn't want anything to remind me of that. And that's why he wears his sports coat and what kind of, now he goes open collar, right? He doesn't go with the tie, but he went back to that. And I thought that was a really interesting answer. Why he dresses the way he does. And I thought it was cool. All right, let's go. 505-246-0610. Bruin James, thanks for holding. James, you're on the Sports Animal. Hi, James.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Are you guys familiar with the Pyramid of Success by John Wooden?
Absolutely, I am.
Okay, in there's something called competitive greatness, right? That means that you worked out, you practiced, you did everything to get to that moment in time where you make that big shot. And when I seen San Diego State on Saturday come back from 15 down and make that shot, me and my cousin, who's an SC fan, so I don't know. But anyway, he made that shot. That's the only thing that came in my mind was competitive greatness. And through the whole tournament, I had UConn because I seen them play. They inside, outside, got the two centers. You know, me and my cousin, it's a no-brainer. It's UConn. After they got past, I don't know. But anyway,
Miami. I'm
not there no more, man. It's San Diego State tonight, bro. It's San Diego State, and I'm going to give you the score. The score is going to be 83-75 San Diego State.
Boy, that'd be a good night.
All right?
All right.
You guys have a good one, man. Competitive greatness.
So competitive greatness is the very tip of the pyramid. And competitive greatness in John Wooden's Pyramid of Success is be at your best when your best is needed. Enjoyment of a difficult challenge. It's kind of what it was, right? By the way, if they win, it's going to be a tough show for me tomorrow morning. I'm just going to tell you. All right. I'm going to reset you at the top. Who wins? It's time for you to make your call. Right? Who wins? Aztec and the Huskies tonight. College basketball's final game. We are in Houston for the Final Four. We are in Porque for so much more. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12. Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1. Gets up. Gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes the 3. Boom! There's that man. Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has ever
Barioni. Now he got open. Open look for a three, and that's what he does. A three for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a three, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs.
New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and J.J. Bach.
Well, what's been a really fun college basketball season comes to an end tonight here in Houston, Texas. The Final Four wraps up Connecticut and San Diego State. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, A. Marie. We're in Houston and in Albuquerque. And taking your phone calls at 505-246-0610. Really interested in what you have to say tonight and looking forward to hearing your thoughts. You can send emails, Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ, one of the things I really like about this matchup and kind of the way the tournament played out, I think if it would have been Miami versus FAU, it would have lost some of the country, right? It would have been such a South Florida focused thing. It has been a long time since we've had a true East Coast, West Coast, right? So often it's, you look at college football and it's either, Ohio State well, Michigan had been there, but it's always Alabama or Georgia, sometimes the two of them. It's been so regional. This feels like the country, it's way more encompassing. Am I
No, it worked
playing
out
that
perfect.
up too much?
Worked out perfect.
Oh, it's East Coast, West Coast. It's a true element of it. Like, as you said, there's certain things like it's going to happen. Just based on who's really good in the moment, and we've seen where kind of the college football power has been over the last decade or so, and this is a great reminder, a great focus of how good college basketball is, and the fact that this game still can be wide open. And if you just look at this Final Four, where you have power conference teams in Miami and UConn, to high major basketball programs in FAU and San Diego State, but it still has the David versus Goliath mindset to it. And I'm so excited about this game because the question not all tournament long, but since, the San Diego State's game against number 1 Alabama, who was the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, was, can they do it? Can they compete? Oh, then you get to Creighton, and Creighton was one of those teams that everyone loved early in the season. And
Same league as UConn.
Another Big East team that got hot at the end. They're like, can San Diego State do it? Can they do it? And the answer is yes, they can, because of their style of play, because those are grown men out there that are big and strong that can battle with UConn, and I'm expecting to see the same exact thing. At times, is UConn going to be able to go on a little bit of a run? Yes, because that's a fantastic basketball team. But San Diego State's never going to be out of it, and I'm expecting the same thing late second half, few possession, 1-2 possession game. Let's go.
I think UConn's been in more final games since 1990. I want to say 98 or 99 than any school in America. I mean, this is, we say, are they a blue blood? They're, relatively new blue blood over the last 2.5 decades, but they are. One other note, and then we're going to the phones. San Diego State and UConn have met in the NCAA tournament before. JJ, remember when I went to the game? Remember it was the first time San Diego State was in the Sweet 16. That was Kawhi Leonard's Aztecs against Kemba Walker's UConn game. I was at that game too in Anaheim, and that's UConn beat San Diego State. Kawhi Leonard and I think it was DJ Gay, who both got technical fouls. Like DJ and Kemba touched each other. Kemba dropped like he got shot, and there was a technical foul. And but yeah, UConn went on to win the.
Are they the same refs that were doing the women's
same
national
exact
championship game yesterday?
100%. Yeah, those were the same ones.
Yeah, I actually have that box score up.
Yeah,
in 2011.
Oh, look at that! That really is. Yeah, there's Vern Harris. So,
thinking about that game, and for the Aztecs, they got beat by 2 NBA dudes.
Mm-hmm.
It was Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lamb. Kemba Walker dropped 36
it was
points
unbelievable
in that game, and Jeremy Lamb had 24.
Yeah, I was in the building watching that. I was like, damn, that dude's good. And what was the final? It was close.
Final score was 74-67.
Yeah, and it got away at the end. All right, let's go. Frank, you're calling us. The number's 505-246-0610. Frank, thanks for holding. Good morning. You're on the Sports Animal.
How are you guys doing today? A beautiful Albuquerque morning.
Life's
I just wanted to talk about the key to tonight's game. I want to see how these guys are going to call the game tonight. Is it going to be ticky-tacky, or they're going to let them play? Because I know San Diego State's a little bit bulkier on the guard side. And do you think the flop is part of practice now? Because it seems like everybody that takes a three-point shot falls down, What do you think?
It's interesting. I don't think it is because they call a flop. Although, JJ, have you seen a flop called in the last 3 rounds of the NCAA tournament? I don't know that I've seen one called. Have you? No, which I'm good with, by the way. Yeah. I'm good with it. No, Frank, I don't know that I think they teach it. I think they almost teach what not to do, but it's a really good call because you see guys falling down on the 3-point shot, trying to draw a foul because guys step in their landing area. I will tell you this.
But now that you can call it a flop, there's that risk involved.
That's right.
Like you can get hit with the flopping call.
But I will tell you this. I feel like I've seen more fouls called on 3-point shooters in the last couple of rounds than I see normally.
I think it's just, you have to call what's there. Mm-hmm. And if there's contact on a shooter's arm, guess what? That's a foul. If you're pushing someone from behind, doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes into the game or there's 2 seconds left in the game.
Yes. Frank, appreciate the call, man. Thank you. David, you're on the Sports Animal. Good morning, David.
A couple of things, particularly you're talking about culture, and I don't think culture matters. In fact, UNM football is proof that anybody talking about listening to them going on and on about culture, and that's an extension of what they were doing in San Diego State. And the idea was ultimately develop this culture of connection to teams and support for fans and yada, 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 when I would think performance matters. And ultimately, as a San Diego State fan, how far back was that culture just kind of a pipe dream compared to their performance to include when was it ever talked about before Fisher even got there? Because ultimately Fisher proves my second point. A lot of teams have the longevity and the performance plus the coaching and the talent, in which case San Diego State's kind of had that over the years. And we're talking about them trying to do that here at UNM with football and basketball, and yet we're dealing with Bertino saying, okay, if he has money, he'll go in 2 years. And to keep them ultimately happy, we'll try to extend them on the idea that we'll keep what is going there. The ultimate point I'm getting to is it's performance. And on top of that, it's a combination of longevity, talent, coaching, and matchups to where it has nothing to do with quote-unquote culture. I think the culture is an overrated hype word.
All right. No, David, thanks. Yes, you need players. You need talent, right? Nobody's ever won without talent. What is culture?
I think that can vary depending on what you're talking about. Because when talent buys in, there's a sense of culture. Because I think culture, I'll agree that it can be overrated at times because it's kind of the fill-in, hey, new coach in town, we need to change the culture, this or that. But when you have talented players that buy in, that is a culture. When you have a Matt Bradley, a Pac-12 transfer, comes into San Diego State thinking he's going to be big man on campus and he gets benched in a practice, it's because of a culture. So I don't agree with David 100% with David's take in that regard, because when talent meets up with a foundation, that equals culture. Like there's certain things that are cliche or buzzwords, but they're there for a reason, because they're talked about and they are preached by coaches. And if you've ever been around a team, yes, you need talent. Every single coach, from Danny Gonzalez to Brian Dutcher, will tell you they're there because of the talent. But we have also seen a lot of instances, and one of those instances could be right here, this men's basketball team this year for the Lobos. They had a ton of talent, but did they have the edge, which you could also classify as culture, needed to turn the corner? And I think that's where you're looking at this conversation with San Diego State, that it's different because there's a longevity of a buy-in to that specific style of play that's got them here.
Well, I think it's an interesting cocktail that goes into culture, right? David mentioned a lot of things. You got to win, and you've got to have talent, and you've got to, right? He mentioned like a handful of things, which I think the answer is, what are all those things? The answer might be culture. I think culture is a vague term, but while I agree with you that it's a catch term and it may be overused, I don't think that it's irrelevant. When you've got a culture, as they talk about at San Diego State, where Matt Bradley says, man, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I'm paraphrasing certainly, but understanding that you're going to go there and you're going to do it a certain way. I don't care who you are, how damn good you are. We got a bunch of good players, and that's David's point. You got to have good players. You're going to do it our way, or you're going to sit on the bench. I don't know, what was the culture at New Mexico State this year? And I'm not bringing it up to bag on them. Please don't take it that way. But obviously that went the wrong way, and what's been the key word down there since? Well, we got to change the culture. Now, I don't know what it means. Okay, it means a lot of
setting
different
expectations too. Like, that stuff matters still. And I know as college athletics, the door is open to more of a professional mindset. Like, it's different, man. I've been around a Division I program. Like, I've seen it day in and day out. And from the outside perspective, I understand the fans' mindset. Like, stop telling me about culture. Stop telling me about mindset. No, there's a way you do things that matters. And whether you want to classify it as culture, expectations, whatever it is, that stuff matters when it comes to the floor, even if you are talented.
Yeah, it's hard to culture is almost an intangible, right? It's hard to quantify what does culture mean, and I think it goes to, how do you handle yourself on the floor, off the court, in the community? How many off-court or off-field issues do you have? How many guys are leaving the program, staying in the program? How do you act when you're in the program? How do you play it? I think culture, like David said, is a lot of things. He says it's not culture, it's winning, it's this, it's this, it's this. But I think the result of that cocktail, when you throw all those ingredients together, that probably is what defines culture. And I think he's right in some respect. Is it overrated? It's an overused term, but I would argue that the programs that have had sustained success, like look what Mick Cronin's doing at UCLA. Look what Mark Few has done at Gonzaga, what Krzyzewski created for all those years, what Nick Saban has at Alabama. I mean, would you say culture's overrated? I mean, fine, that's fine, but is culture a way of doing things?
It's almost like a placeholder.
How we do it.
Like,
okay.
It's just used to describe something good. And then if you want to dive into it and start piecing apart, you can. Because the factors that lead into a successful program, every single coach, all those coaches you just said, will tell you it's talent. But there still has to be something that talent buys into for it to be successful.
Well, look, I mean, talent's going to 98% of the time override everything else, right? I mean, there's a few. Jim Valvano's team was not more talented than Phi Slama Jama, right? Raleigh Massimino's team was not, at Villanova, was not more talented than that Georgetown team. But usually talent's gonna win out. But then what was there? Is it? I don't know. Call it what you want, man. If you don't like the word culture, I'm down with that. But what is it? Because I've told you this. I believe this. The champion isn't always the best team. Like San Diego State might win tonight, and I'll hear, well, Connecticut was the best team, but you might be right. You might be right. But the team that cuts down nets or lifts a trophy isn't always the best team. Were the New York Giants better that year than the New England Patriots when the Patriots were, what were they, 18-0, trying to finish 19-0, right?
Yep.
But were the Giants better? Not all year, but they were better when the championship was on the line. Now, was that culture? I don't care. Call it what you want. We are playing semantics, and I'm down. If you don't like the word culture, I get it. Where were we, JJ? Was it this last year at football media days? We asked a bunch that, what does culture mean? We hear that. What does it mean? And we got a lot of different answers, right?
Yeah, like, again, the way I think about it is it's an easy placeholder for the pyramid that you're trying to build wherever you are, because everyone is going to set a level of expectations, this or that. And so culture is just kind of the word you use to encompass everything without necessarily having to break down every step that you are going to do with your team.
All right. We get back. I want your thoughts. Who's going to win tonight? You like the Aztecs? Do you like UConn? Who's going to win, and why? And then I do want to touch also, Marie, a little bit more. We kind of glazed over the women's game last night. LSU 102, Iowa 85. And the two things that are getting the most attention have nothing to do with basketball. What was the coach wearing? And what about that clap back by Angel Reese? That's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sports Animal.
Championship day here in Houston, man. It should be fun. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, A-Marie. In Houston for the Final Four, in the Burke. Lots going on. You want to talk about it. The number's 505-246-0610. I'll also get to your correspondence, man. We got text coming in on the text line. It's also the same number as the 377 Brewery hotline, 505-246-0610. Emails, jeff@sportsanimallabq.com. JJ@sportsanimallabq.com. Howard, you want to talk about the Aztecs and the Huskies. You're on the Sports Animal. Hello, Howard.
Good morning, Jeff. And, this is just a special day. I mean, I'm looking back in history, almost 20 years, almost to the day.
Tomorrow
Will be 20 years that marked
40.
North Carolina State pulling off the
40,
upset against the Houston
40
Cougars
years.
in the pit.
40 years. Yeah.
40 years. 40 years, almost to the day. Tomorrow would have been 40. And, I mean, there were two NBA Hall of Famers on that Houston Cougar team, and NC State pulled off the improbable. And I just keep saying to myself, why not San Diego State? Because they've got the necessary tools to match up against UConn. It may not be the best matchup in the world, but why not? That's all I can say. Keep saying to myself.
I think they're saying that.
When it comes down to it,
themselves.
I'm going to call my shot. San Diego State 76-73. And I think it's going to be a hard-fought, physical game. Who doesn't? I think it's going to be extremely physical. But let me tell you something, Jeffrey. Saturday, we were sitting over at my lodge. There was about 50 people, a lot of people wearing their Lobo gear. And, man, that place erupted when he hit that shot. You could not believe the amount of people jumping up and down and cheering for the Aztecs. And I'm like, I love that. I mean, if it can't be us, why can't it be somebody from our conference? And then you know what we need to take from this? All right, San Diego State did this. Why can't we? Right?
Yep. No, that's right. Look, you beat them once in their place this year and had them until the last second, until the buzzer went off in your place. So you almost swept them. And this is the third time in history that the Lobos have played a team playing for a national championship game. Utah and Arizona were the others. And how close are you? It gives you a glimmer of hope. Why not? Why not New Mexico? First of all, the fact that you and Howard, thanks for the call. Really appreciate you. The fact that I'm hearing a story about Lobo fans in Albuquerque, New Mexico, jumping up or down for a San Diego State win is like one of those things that, right? JJ just blows my mind.
I think as the tournament's gone on, people are on board with the Aztecs and the Mountain West. Like we were, at San Diego Sports Bar on Saturday, watching that game, and it was not, 9-1. People were in for the Aztecs.
And they're in their Lobo gear, and just like that place, I'll show you the video. I'll send you the video. I took a video of it, but people were just was the whole game, like every shot, like they were just so invested in it. It was awesome.
And I think there is,
and it was packed. I've never seen a place so packed, by the way.
It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And
So I think that was great, and I think because San Diego State was there, that's why San Diego was so packed. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think too, when you look at this, and you're gonna have your rivals, you're gonna talk smack, and this, honestly, Lobo fan, I know you're flying that flag. This is worst case scenario. If San Diego State wins this game tonight, turn off Twitter. You are never going to win an argument ever again with an Aztec basketball fan. You can run the smack you want and say this and that, and no, Aztec fans are actually trashy, this or that. They already have the geographical arrogance. And if they win a national championship, just mute them on Twitter, because you are never going to win a smack talk
Doesn't
argument
matter if you beat
with
them
the
at home
Aztecs
this year.
ever again. You could beat them the next 25 times in a row, and it won't matter.
It's
so just
over.
be prepared that if the Aztecs win tonight, you can never have another conversation with an Aztec fan when it comes to getting edgy basketball talk. It's over.
Yeah, the show, their student section on Twitter is, I think, over the top obnoxious. But and they've already warned you. I think they put out a tweet yesterday said, "You hate us now. If we win tomorrow, it's getting way worse."
Just mute them. Just do it.
Yeah. But and it's going to be hard to clap back. Oh, we beat you in your place. Congratulations. How do we look on TV? Right. I mean, that's going to kind of be the story. I kind of thought because of the way the game ended is why it was. But to hear you guys tell me it was the whole game, it was all game. That's one of those. And I said this earlier in the show, and the way they won, like if they would have won the game, controlled it, and won by 15 points, it would have been really cool, JJ. And maybe there's a different narrative going into the UConn game. Probably not. But because they won on an iconic moment in NCAA tournament history, put it over the top, and they've won their last two games by a point, while UConn hasn't had a game within single digits all tournament. And that's why everybody's on UConn. This is really playing up. If you buy into poetic, not justice, but the whole 40 years almost to the day from the Valvano thing. And I don't know. I don't know if I buy into it either. But we'll sit here tomorrow and we'll find out. The hope maybe that it gives the smaller guys, and I don't know. Whatever your reason, I think we love college basketball because we want to believe that everybody's got a chance. And we've watched somebody rise from nothing, and now here they are playing for a national championship.
It's in any sport, though. You're rooting for a team that's never won before. Come on. Everyone hates on people who win all the time. When a program has never won, it's like, even if you're not a fan of San Diego State, you're like, oh my gosh, they're invested.
Yeah. Mud says it's exciting to see a familiar rival go to the championship game. A team we dominated both here and there is fantastic. Go Lobos, and in parentheses, Aztecs. See? And you can run it all you want afterwards. And JJ, I run it.
And what's going to be interesting too in all this is what will the lasting impact be for the Mountain West? Not unit shares, all that stuff. Nice, great money for these schools moving forward. But when you think about what league was Butler in when they went to their back-to-back.
I believe they were in the Horizon, weren't they? Was it the Horizon League? Yeah.
But once they've left, Butler's in the Big East.
Yeah.
And so does it still have that feel? Like, does a Horizon League, are they kind of riding that wave?
That's a really good point.
This will be an interesting one to watch, because if next year or the year after the Aztecs are in the Big 12, does it still resonate the same way?
Yeah, but the Horizon League was still a one-bid league that was riding on Butler. This is a four-bid league that, while it's riding San Diego State now, I would argue that it's a little bit different. Right? I mean, it wasn't that league was completely dependent on that one team.
Yeah, and that's why I think that as this plays out, this is why even with the rivalry, more people are going in because of the us versus them, power conferences. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're Ohio State or Michigan, like, you have money. You don't care if those teams go on a run. Like, you're a power conference team, you get their opportunities, and this is just kind of like
you don't root for them though. Ohio State doesn't root for Michigan.
They don't have to,
right?
Because they get those opportunities and they're there all the time. And they have gigantic television deals.
Yep.
And this is even with the rivalry, even wanting to root against the Aztecs, you start to feel the, all right, us versus everyone else mentality, because it is the Mountain West Conference and not the Big Ten or the SEC.
Text line says, as a Lobo fan, I'm very happy for the Aztecs. It's great for the Mountain West Conference, more publicity and more money that's deserved and needed. This one says, Richard Pitino needs to use this as a recruiting tool. Lobos spanked San Diego State in San Diego this year and came within an eyelash of sweeping them. The Lobos are that close. Okay? And I mean, did they spank them? What was the score?
Didn't they beat them? Yeah, I don't think it was a spank.
I mean,
I can't remember the score at the top of my head.
I'll find it for you.
But I don't think it was a spanking.
I'll find it for you. The other one says, yeah, if San Diego State, it says San Diego, but I'll fill in the blank. If San Diego makes free throws, then they would have won going away, and that's right. The Lobos in San Diego beat the Aztecs 76-67, so they beat them by 9 points. I mean, I'd be a little. Did they spank them? Did they dominate them?
No.
I mean, that's the other thing. They dominated them in the pit. It was a 1-point game. In the last, you played really well. Did you outplay them? Yeah, I'll give you that. JJ, I don't know. I'm going to yield to you. Did the Lobos dominate the Lobos in those two games, or they beat them once?
No, I think if you win by 9 at San Diego State, you can say that's a convincing victory.
It's a good victory. It's a good victory. Yeah, I think so. All right, well, I'll get you some of your emails, your correspondence. We're here for you, and make your call. Howie says, I've got Howard and Bruin James both called the Aztecs tonight. Who you got tonight? 505-246-0610. That's the 377 Brewery Hotline.
And speaking of 377 Brewery, I talk about it all the time. Where do you watch your sports? Where do you want to go? When you're going out and you want to watch your favorite team, where do you go? You should go to 377 Brewery. It's amazing. It's family friendly. It's pet friendly. It's conveniently located on the northwest corner of Yale and Gibson. Full bar, great kitchen. You got to go out to 377 every time you want to watch a sporting event. Maybe tonight. Tonight would be the perfect night to go check it out. They have a great kitchen, almost 100% from scratch, full bar. And again, it's family friendly. It's pet friendly. There's plenty of seating and the atmosphere is just great. You're going to love it. Go there to check out some sports sometimes. Again, 377 Brewery on the northwest corner of Yale and Gibson, or check them out at 377brewery.com.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1, gets up, gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a three. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open. Open look for a three, and that's what he does. A three for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a three, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sound of a safe place to go after school.
Wherever Lobos howl, they do not woof. Down with that. Get it. Totally understand the rivalry. If SDSU wins, this one says, and develops tension in the Mountain West, the Lobos and other Mountain West team fans can thank SDSU for the units and the money, then wish them a fast departure to the Big 12. Okay? And then there's this one, JJ. This one's precious. Now, nobody's going to sit here and tell you, not me nor anybody else, that San Diego State has had the toughest path ever to the Final Four. They've not. They have beaten a 12, a 13, a 1, a 6, and a 9. And so Gopher says, who have the Aztecs beaten, Jeff? I'm hearing from very different Lobo fans. They're saying the Aztecs got lucky. They got a lucky draw, and they haven't beaten anybody. 2 things. They're not going to apologize, nor should they, for being in the national championship game. They beat everybody that was put in front of them, including the number 1 overall seed in this tournament in Alabama. I mean, how should one respond to that?
It's just reaching.
Don't you think? That's ridiculous.
I watch the games. Like at after the first weekend, like throw the seeds away. Like how are the teams playing? I don't care if FAU was a 9 seed. They won 30 games this season. They weren't
34.
Barely Dickinson, which is like a 300 Ken Palm team. That's not the case at all. Throw the numbers away. Use your eyes. We get so caught up on seed lines, preseason expectations, and people don't want to just watch the games and go, oh, these are really good teams. Oh, nope, it's a 9 seed, it's a 6 seed. That stuff doesn't matter. You're wrong after the first weekend.
I would even argue the first weekend. Were the Lobos a 3 seed and lost to a 14 seed in Harvard?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, who have you beaten?
Watch how the teams are playing in the way that they come in and who they are in the moment. And they beat
Charleston,
an Alabama
and
team that
Alabama
picked to win the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a Creighton team that was getting hot at the right time and everyone loved them. They beat a team in the first round that everyone picked as the upset favorite right when the bracket came out, Charleston, as the 12 to pick. And then it being an FAU team that was playing unbelievable basketball.
Yeah, it's a cute argument.
Not easy at all.
Yeah, if you want to downplay it, that's fine. I mean, would you take this path, Lobo fan? I mean, it's who have you beaten? I mean, you beat whoever was put in front of you, and you're in the final game. There's two teams out of 360 standing. Nothing
like
to apologize
FAU
about.
does you don't accidentally get to the Final Four.
That's right.
That's a really good basketball team.
And accidentally
win basketball.
Accidentally win 34 games. Ray, thanks for holding. Good morning, Ray. You're on the Sports Animal. Hello.
What's up, guys?
What's happening?
Yeah, Jeff, I want to say, hey, all the work you do here for the New Mexico Bowl and bias when Lobos play San Diego State and everything, you deserve it all, buddy. Enjoy it. Hopefully they win. I got San Diego State 63, UConn 58. Low-scoring game. Because if it's a high-scoring game, I think it might be UConn. But hopefully San Diego State.
Wow.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you.
The
It's
score.
fun.
Wow.
Yeah. No, and everybody's coming up with scores too. I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, you know where I went to school? I've never hid where I've gone to school. I haven't been a fan, JJ. It's been a minute. There was a part of me that turned fan this week. I'm not gonna lie. Sushan will tell you the same story, right? I mean, it's like I love Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've been here 26 and a half years. It's my home. I love it. I love New Mexico and New Mexico State, and I love when they win. And but this has been a special, just something different. So, Grady, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hello, Grady.
Bad take readers of the OD and the AM. What's happening?
What's going on?
So I just want to touch base real quick on both the men's and the women's. So yeah, San Diego State, it's a great story. And first off, I'm happy for you, Jeff, as a fan, to be able to be out there, to be able to experience this, because it truly is something special. And so I'm happy for you. And I'll say this, and I think this all ties together. So the folks talking about they need to expand the tournament, that type of thing, I would be willing to bet are the same folks that are complaining about, well, look at these quote-unquote no-name teams, these high seeds. It's not the same, and then they'll complain about there are no marquee names. Look at the play. It's not as good as it used to be. Blah blah blah. Get off my lawn. And it's like this. That's not a good way to look at it, in my opinion. It's the actual chance that good teams, no matter the number in front of them, no matter the conference they come from, can get in and win is awesome. That's exciting. That to me is what makes sport. The fact that you don't really know who's going to win or who's going to lose, and it doesn't matter who was dominant when your grandpa played. It's all about who's playing now. And some people just can't deal with that. Some people, they just have to have a front runner to lean on, and they will come up with every excuse in the book, and this includes the national talking heads, to spout when they're wrong, when the team that they think that is good, that should win, hasn't won in however many years. But, well, that's the name across the chest. It doesn't matter. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for basketball out west. I know what you're talking about with you and Jeff Graham, that conversation. That's a good thing for sport overall, in my opinion. So I'm riding hard with the Aztecs, because let me tell you, there is a small measure of pride that Lobo fans should hold on to. Not only if the Aztecs win, hey, they're in your conference, and you have a little victory over them. So that's something that you can hold on to, and they should. So I'm all for the Aztecs. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm driving the bus. So I'm
Welcome
definitely
aboard.
wanting them to win. And quickly on the women's game yesterday. First off, I'm like A-Marie said, I'm super pumped with all the coverage that the women's game has been getting, and it's deservedly so. And I'll just say this: there's a teenage boy that lives in my house, one of those Ballless Live kids that has zero in common with me as far as media sources, outlet, etc. And he plopped his butt on the couch from the TV and watched the women's title game and was oohing and on like everybody else. So that just goes to show that that game has finally moved into its spotlight where it's deserved because it's good basketball.
Yeah, it is.
And when you're talking about the younger generation, quote unquote, that's getting excited about it, whether it be men or women, that to me says something. And lastly, on the whole, the smack talk thing, it's an outrage over nothing. There's so many different levels of why people are flipping out about the whole, Bayou Barbie smack talk. Listen, when your athletes are out there competing, Caitlin Clark, Bayou Barbie, everybody, when they're out there playing hard and competing, they're going to run a little smack. It's going to get a little heated. That's what you expect from the men's game. You should expect it too from the women's game. Don't play the double standard. Don't try to hold them to a different standard and then criticize. Well, they don't do this like the men. They don't do that like the men. Well, they're out there balling. They're out there being aggressive. They're out there running smack. So, hey, that's part of the game. And enjoy it. And it's not like Caitlin Clark hadn't been running smack throughout this whole season either. So it's one of those things where if you're going to get out there and play and run it, you got to be out there and be able to take it when you lose.
Right on, man. Good to hear you. Thanks, Grady. All right, let's take this final break. We're going to come back. Terry Bryant, and want to hear what you have to say. Please stay there. We'll wrap things up. I'll get you everything you need to know before we get out of here. And JJ, I'm going to watch that championship game tonight, and I can't be more fired up. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9700 9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You tell us how good we look for our age. Just remember, we're not that kind of station. Creeper.
All right, who you got tonight? Call your shot, 505-246-0610. SDSU's decade-long performance on the Twitter.
Oh, well, be gone. Made it to the last segment. Symbiote and Houston National Championship game. Jeff Symbiote, JJ about Gamery. He cannot hear us right now, but we'll keep it rolling. 505-246-0610. Let's get him in here. Terry, you're on the Sports Animal. What's up, Terry?
I was going to say good morning, everyone, but I guess maybe Jeff's off to have a few drinks before the game. But breaking in and all. Hewitt and got a point and a half, so everybody winner, chicken dinner. The women's game, I thought the technical on Caitlin Clark was probably the most absurd call. Maybe that ref was related to the umpire who threw the catcher out for dropping the ball, but all she did was toss the ball back. And even as A-Marie was saying, you know, trying to promote women's basketball, and I guess Friday night had the biggest viewership. Just to make a call like that, it's just sad. You know, it was, you know, when they said thought the Iowa coach Friday night with her triangle and two was a great defense, when they were trying to say, oh, they were disrespecting, you know, South Carolina. Nobody thought Purdue got disrespected when the defense was run similar against them. But it kind of reminded me of Dale Brown, who was actually a men's coach at LSU when he had his teams, not when he had Shaq and them, but when he had the lefter, and he would run a diamond and one, a triangle and two, and he took 11 feet to the Final Four. And, you know, in '88, KU was a big underdog, and they won. So, you know, if the Aztecs pull it off, great, but I am superstitious, and for Jeff's benefit, I'll pick Connecticut because I've been wrong the whole time, so maybe it'll make it good for him tonight.
Appreciate the phone call, Terry. So we've seen a lot of that. Keep it going with what you picked.
I'm down with that.
This is awesome. It's just, I love it.
We keep losing Jeff
Keep
on the
losing
most
Jeff at the very
important
end.
3 minutes of the.
That's all right. So Sandy,
Sorry, Jeffy.
Well, we're getting him back and made it all the way to the end of the show.
Yeah, come on. 3 minutes left in the game. This is where it counts.
But San Diego State, UConn. Out Alabama? The answer is yes. It's style, it's physicality. UConn's been unbelievable. And if there's a team that you think could keep it close, I get it. We've been there with UConn. And looking at Gonzaga. And they're looking at Miami. I can hear
you, Jeff.
But I don't know if you can hear us. That's the thing now.
That's so funny.
Keep going down. All you want is a chance. And this team absolutely has a chance right now.
Absolutely has a chance, and it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game too, but I don't know about 63-58 by the earlier caller, but I think it's going to come down to the buzzer.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that they will win? Do you believe that they will win?
Yeah,
Do you believe that they will win?
Hope for you. I hope that they will win.
Do you believe? Yeah, I might be a little groggy tomorrow morning. Just saying.
And we totally understand that, as you should be.
Here's the thing. In sports, there's a reason we like sports. There's a reason that sports commentators get into it. And if you try to say that you will find zero enjoyment in things, it's just not the way it works. We all started somewhere. We all have something that we latch on to. And this is that moment.
Rome says all the time. Yeah.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
This is just...
No, it's weird. So Jim Rome says all the time, right? He doesn't root, right? He doesn't cheer. And Jay, your point is so right? There's a reason we got into what we do. And I was talking to Ed Graney. His name's come up. He writes for the Las Vegas Review. He and I used to sit in empty press boxes in San Diego, like when we were both in school. And there was 400 people at an Aztec game and football games, big stadium, nobody there. But that's what gets you into kind of what you do, right? And I don't know. At some point, there's a special moment, and I told somebody the other day. Remember when the Rams won the Super Bowl a few years ago? Like, it was fun and it was really cool, but this is different. And I haven't been a fan in a long time, and I'm not gonna lie. I played fan on Saturday, and I jumped around and hugged a grown man, and he carried me around like Yogi Berra, and he was a guy with a Super Bowl ring, and we just met, right? And this one hits different, man. This is one of those crazy runs. And
oh, come on, Jeff, I am so sorry. This crazy run, yes.
It's been a
with
crazy
30
run.
seconds left on the clock.
30 seconds left on the clock. Who's going to hit the final shot in this one? It's absolutely fair, and this is a conversation that we'll have throughout the week. We'll have the entire summer. We'll have going into next season. It's not just about units and money for the Mountain West Conference. It's about opportunity. It's about belief, and it's showing you at this level you can compete. It's find a way to get in, win some games, and see what can happen. And in this day in college basketball, everyone asks, is it sustainable? How's it going to work? Well, the way college basketball is right now, it's an opportunity for everyone, whether you want to invest in NIL and collectives so you can find guys to bring in the transfer portal. It's an opportunity. The Aztecs, Mountain West, have that opportunity tonight against UConn, and I cannot wait to see what happens.
Yeah, if you can't watch, you can hear it on the Sports Saddle. We'll make sure we'll be right here for you, and then we're back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with award-winning radio. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd follows that. 2 Men On comes your way at 4 o'clock. We get the NCAA championship game, Aztecs and Huskies tonight. Thanks to Jeff Grammer for being with us. A-Marie, great work. Adrian, great work. We'll see you tomorrow. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. Have a great day.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul foul territory, and LaCueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Oh, was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
To back it out.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1, gets up, gets it in.
He doesn't use it, comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a 3, and that's what he does. A 3 for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a 3, and it'll count at the buzzer.